Okay, good morning. So we're up to Siman Kuf Ayin Halacha Beis, Sif Beis. Says the Mechaber, some very interesting halachas we're gonna be talking about, and that is the halachas of Dvarim Hanagim Besuda, sort of mealtime etiquette, we'll call it. Let's take a look. Shnai mamtinin zeh b'ka'ara. So two people should wait for each other for ka'ara. What does that mean? That means that if two people are eating from one bowl, you know, imagine you've got two people, they're sharing food, and they're taking a spoon of the food together, and one of them stops because he wants a drink. So it's not fair for the guy who stops to take a drink. The other guy continues to eating. Yeah, I remember there used to be remember Laura and Hardy? They used to be the comedians. So one of them was very big and one was very skinny, and they didn't have enough money to buy a pint of beer. So they chipped in together, they shared it. And then the big guy takes it, and they're going to go half, and he takes it, he drinks the whole lot. So they said, the other guy said to him, that wasn't what you're doing. So he said, my half was at the bottom. Right? So we're aware of the fact that someone is watching the other guy eating whilst he's waiting. It's not fair. So says the halacha, the other guy waits for him to drink until he finishes his drink, and then he can continue. If there are three people who are sharing, then the two don't have to wait for the three. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, so 12, if you look at footnote 12, that's dafka if they're eating from one pot, one dish. If they're eating from separate plates, then there's no reason to wait for each other, so therefore there's no concern. It's dafka when they're eating from one bowl that if one person is stopping to drink, it's not fair the other one carries on. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you've got a new base. For who Shiosun Harbes, so long as there's not a long delay, because if the guy is waiting and the other guy is waiting to have his food, it's not fair to hold him up. Shelo Yafsik B'divrei Sicha, etc. They shouldn't stop and speak, etc. So 13. Look at footnote 13. V'cheinim silek echod mehemes yodem min ha'ka'ara. If one guy stops for whatever reason, and the second guy is waiting, and he's waiting so long that the food might go cold or might get spoiled, it gets cold, you don't have to wait. If the other guy is waiting so long that he's ruining your half of the food, so you don't have to wait for him, because that's not what Chazal have in mind. Or he delayed for some other reason, he was drinking, whatever it may be. Continues the Mishnah Berurah, it's not appropriate, it's not derech eretz for a Talmid Chacham to drink water in public. He should turn away a little bit to drink. It's more tzanua. That's only not in the mealtime. But in the time of a Suda, then it's okay for a Talmid Chacham to drink in public. It's dafka water, but which is, I guess, that's the drink which is going to quench your thirst, which you drink quite thirstily. B'shas ksubas samachei, in the Gemara in ksubas samachei, it says isha she'ein ba'ale imma ein lo lishtes yain. A woman, if her husband is not with her, she should not drink wine. Or she derech ba'achsanya, if she's traveling and she's in a hotel or a motel, whatever. Afilu ba'ale imma also, even if the husband is with her, it's also v'adin b'shah mashkin hamashakrin. And so to any other intoxicating drinks. If she is normal, she's accustomed to drink in front of her husband, she can drink a little bit, not in front of her husband. Okay. Gimel. Sif Gimel. When you should leave a little bit of the food on the plate to give to the shamash, the waiter. But when the shamash is pouring from the pot, into the serving dish, it's not the derech to leave some stuff from the pot or the frying pan for the benefit of the shamash. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you've got a new dalid. We said Kamesha Kosapasim and Kuf Samachtet, Tes, Vayin Sham Mishtabura, Sivkot and Bay. So that's, we spoke out a few days ago, that it's appropriate to give the shamas. You've got to give the shamas who's serving, otherwise it's torture for him to watch everyone eat and to serve it. So you've got to give him. But what the Mechab is saying over here, everyone leaves a bit from the kara, which is not the individual plates, but the serving dishes. You leave a little bit for the shamash, but you don't leave it from the frying pot. That's not so respectful, I suppose. Sivkot and Tezvav, Avol Kasha Shamash Pirush, Kasha Shamash Ma'arim and Ilfas Atecha Kara, when he's pouring from the pot into the serving dishes, Eina Mederech Hamusa Shiyashai La'asma Bilfas, it's not nice for him to leave him bits left over from the original pots. Eliyare Hakol, he should pour the whole thing out, for him Yanichu Kol Echad Bekara Ma'ad Bishviloi, and everyone just leave him some from the serving dishes for the waiter. Dalet, Ein Mistaklin Bifnei Ha'echel, it's a very interesting halacha, this. You're not allowed to look at the face of a person who's eating, nor at his portion, not at his plate of food, because it embarrasses him. Right? In other words, you're sitting there at the meal, to stare at the other party whilst he's eating, or at the food on his plate, and you should see people do this sometimes. It's quite, you see exactly what the mechaber means. I know, I suppose it's difficult sometimes when you're at a buffet or whatever, and everyone's, you see what the other guy's taken. That's not what we should be doing. It's some first halacha. So again, ein mistaklin b'fnei ha'ochel lo b'manoso, nor at his face, nor at the person eating, nor at his food. Shlo levaisha might embarrass him. It makes it uncomfortable to eat. Hey, no mishmar on that. Sif hey, hanichnas lebayis. Very interesting halacha. Hanichnas lebayis. You're a guest in somebody's home. Kol masha yom lebalabayis yaseh. Yeah, famous halacha. Whatever you should always do what the balabayis tells you to do. So it says the Mishnah Berurah Tezayin. Kol masha yom hainu afilu dova sheish b'ksas gasus u'shror shelo haya oisek ein orach mishum anova. Even if it's something which the orach, the guest, feels a little bit uncomfortable, it's a bit arrogant or a bit more sort of lording it over others, and normally the orach wouldn't do this because of anova. He's a humble person. Afa pikein yaseh. That's what Tosfos says to explain this Gemara. So even if the balabayas tells you to do something which is normally you don't like doing, do it. If, however, the orach, the guest, is doing something, he's noeg a certain precious, he abstains from a certain conduct because of srach isa, it touches on something which is asa, then he doesn't have to listen to the balabayas to do this certain thing. And a person should try and cover up any maisa which he does, precious, which is abstaining from certain things. Now, there's a famous vart of the Gan. He says that the Gemara says chutz mitzad isa, yeah. Kol yaseh kol mashabayis omer chutz mitzad mitzei, chutz mitzei, it says, the part which means the normal understanding is except for go, right? If he says go, don't go. Well, I think the understanding means you don't hang on there so long that he's got to tell you to go. Right, use your common sense. Yeah, if it's a Shabbos afternoon and the guy wants to have a shluf, don't linger and hang around. And I've got a friend who, when he invites guests, he said, at the end of the meal, we never like a hot tea, right? And you can see the guys saying, "Please say no, right?" So he says, he's quite blunt. He says, "Right, I'm having my lemon tea in bed. Would anyone like one?" That's what he said. Anyway, but b'chol ofen, the orach should use the common sense that it's chutz mitzei. That's the normal pshat, that he should leave before the guy has to say to him, leave, right? But the Gan says no. He says chutz mitzei means, it's an acronym for tzad isur. You've got to do whatever your balabai says, apart from tzad isur, that's something he tells you which is borders on the isur, that of course you can't do. Okay, yud zayin, yaseh, I'm b'bigdei yeshesh mitzadid, ta'inu dafka zulas achila v'shtia. That's aside from eating and drinking. Aval b'achila v'shtia, imeina toyev le'achol v'lishtois, yosef, if the guest doesn't want to eat anymore, and the balabayas is forcing him, he doesn't have to listen to the balabayas, that he should get sick, he should get ill, damaged from the achila. So if the balabais is saying, is pressurizing you to eat, you don't have to eat. That doesn't extend to that. Okay. Halacha vav. Lo yehi adam kapton. Wow, Chaim, third time now. Yeah. Lo yehi adam kapton. Pirush kasan oiragzon b'sudosei. So a person shouldn't be angry and makpid when he eats. Says the Mishnah Berurah Yudches, kapton b'sudosei mipnei shemoneh b'nei beis lo oseis klum la'aniyim mipnei yiras kaptonosei. Everyone's scared of him, right? The guy is everyone's walking on eggshells around him, and if they're aniyim there, they come to the door and they want to give them from the food, maybe he'll get angry. So don't be a captain at the time of the meal, or generally. And sometimes guests are embarrassed to eat. The guy's a captain, he's stingy, he's not serving, or he's cutting, whatever it may be, or he gets angry. Then people embarrassed, they don't feel uncomfortable to eat. If you take a piece of kigel, take a piece of chicken, then maybe the guy's going to get upset with you. So it's not a comfortable environment. Don't be captain. Zayin. Don't eat too big a piece. Yeah, my father always used to tell us this is halachas, but it was derech eretz. It's etiquette. When you eat on your fork, you should be a smaller amount, not a big piece. And don't put too much in your mouth in one go. That's what it means. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Lo yechol adam v'habeis Yosef mitzadid ta'afilu lechos biyodek kabeitza ene kedai afal pi she'eno echol basechas. Even if you've got a big piece and you're eating it from that, you break off a smaller piece and whatever is in your hand you eat, rather than eating from a large piece. However, if you look at number 19 in the footnote, what about a sandwich? What about something like that? That the derech ha'olam is to hold it in your hands and eat it. So two comments. Number one, first of all, not to have a too big a piece is dafka weekday. We said that lo shaykh mechzik raf sunusa. The whole concept of looking like you're eating like a greedy person is not shaykh. Shemishum chibub sud Shabbos oisakein laharbes besud. On the contrary, Shabbos you want to eat. Okay, but I think still, one should eat with the etiquette or how, yeah. If the status of the food is that you normally eat it in such a way, it could go in pita for karich sandwich, yeah. That that doesn't look like gluttonous eating during the week. You eat a sandwich in that way. When it says don't eat too much, whatever the shear is, then the food on top, the tuna on top of the sandwich or on bread is included in it. Okay, one more quick halacha. Lo yishte kosa b'basachas. You shouldn't drink all the drink in one go, because again it looks like a gluttonous way of drinking. V'im shasahar ze gargaron, the person is a glutton. Shnayim derech eretz, but if you drink it in 2 sips, that's derech eretz. Shleisha har ze migasei aruach, but if you drink it in 3, that's considered like arrogant, sort of very finicky. Says the Ramah, miu kais cotton ma'id mushta lishles b'basachas. If it's one, it's a small case, that's the way to drink it, that's okay. And if it's a very large case, to drink it 3 or 4 or more times, that would be okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah Ches, Babas in Sivkot and Chof, if you leave a little bit over, if you've got to drink, and you drink it, and you drink the majority, and then you leave it a bit over, that's already considered Shnaim, which is derech eretz. Shnaim, derech eretz, pirush, k'sheshoseu, b'shnei pa'amim, you drink it in 2 goes. V'ayin lekama siman reish yud, mashe kosavnu sham. All right, we'll talk about that. If a person is thirsty, then it could be different. We'll get there. Kais cotton, hainu pachs miravias. V'chol zeh, regular people, regular wine. If he's a bigger person, a yain masuk, or it's very sweet wine, it becomes very subjective. That would be okay. Well, if he's there, our beer or our strong drink, which is not very strong, it will definitely be more than revius, and therefore, okay, we'll leave it there.